I think Jamaica is more than ready. Thompson.
No, I'm not ready.
You all are more than ready. Go ahead.
I'm really not ready.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Tamsim is the interviewee, and I'll be the interviewer.
Okay. So Sonia will spotlight Tamsin. Go ahead once you're ready. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome back to News Talk Radio. My name is Stacey Ann Brown, and with me today is Registrar Tamsin Bailey from the Supreme Court of Jamaica, and she is here with us to tell us about a new initiative being implemented. Welcome, Registrar Bailey. How are you? I think we have some technical difficulties. Registrar Bailey, could you check your microphone, please?
Thank you. I am doing well, and thank you for having me on your program.
It is my pleasure, Registrar. So let us start off with you telling us a little bit about this new initiative of the Judiciary of Jamaica.
Great. I'll be happy to share with you and your listeners about this very exciting and innovative system that the judiciary recently implemented in all the courts across the island. So this new system is our differentiated case management system, and it is essentially geared towards dealing with cases based on the level of complexity. So for example, a straight up case of possession of ganja or firearm will require up to 4 months from case initiation to disposition, which is less judicial time and resources than would be required by a murder case, where the evidence is not as direct, but highly technical and circumstantial, with numerous witnesses, and would require more judicial intervention. And so would take between 9 and 12 months from initiation to conclusion. So essentially, the differentiated case management system allows the courts to prioritize these matters based on the resources needed to expedite these matters in the most efficient manner.
So, Registrar Bailey, tell me, how will this differentiated case management system work?
Well, if you're familiar with the triage system used by hospitals, then you have an understanding of how the differentiated case management system works. The process of case differentiation begins in the registry in each court, where the files are assessed based on established criteria, such as the type of offense, the number of defendants and witnesses, the nature of the evidence, the legal and factual issues to be resolved, and whether the matter is one of high public interest, the estimated length of trial, and whether there are third-party materials such as forensic and ballistics reports. And so that is how the process begins, and cases are sorted based on these established standards.
And who would benefit the most from this sort of system?
Well, I think everyone will benefit from this system. So not just persons who are impacted directly by crime, but the wider community, because everyone is interested in crime and how these matters are addressed by the courts. But definitely, I would say victims and their families, complainants, witnesses, and of course the defendants and their families, I would say they will reap the benefits from this system the most. So if I were to revisit the early example of the simple possession of ganja or firearm case, a defendant on remand for these types of offenses is expected or can expect to have his matter completed within the established time frame of up to 4 months. And the benefit of this is really great because families can now have a reasonable expectation of when the matter will be disposed of. They should also see a reduction in the legal fees that would be accrued in terms of just getting representation for these defendants. And so no more will they have persons or family members being remanded for extended periods of time awaiting adjudication of their cases.
Thank you, Registrar Bailey. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing all this information with us.
It was my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Well done. I know it's always tough coming out the gate first, but you hit them for 6 straight off the bat. So good showing. What are we going to do is that we're just going to give some general comments. And Ms. Bailey, Registrar Bailey, if you could turn back on your camera for me. Look at you stressing. Why are you stressing? We caught you. No need to stress. This is what this is about. I want you to, where is your camera? Right? When you're doing this future point, use a pen and show me where in terms of your camera you are looking at. Right. So you're looking straight there. So that's the one thing I want you to for me be mindful of. Look into the camera, right? Look into literally the camera lens. But I know you were reading, and so it was hard, and you're also muted. So I'm inferring what you're saying because you've muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at you and not at the camera. I keep looking at the speaker, and I'm sorry. I really should be looking at the camera.
Right.
I was looking at Stacey and for most of the time as well.
Right. And that's for all of us to learn and understand, because in the Zoom interview, there will be, like right now, I'm watching you and I'm not watching the camera. So I have to be mindful of that. And it's very natural for us to do so, okay? To look at the person we're talking to, but we should really be looking at the camera. The other thing for me, when I make a mistake, sometimes I would make a face because I have made a mistake. But sometimes the public and the interviewer and the audience, they're not aware that you made a mistake. So by you either rolling your eye or sticking out your tongue naturally, which is what we do, right? You have just revealed that an error, that you made an error. So it's those little things to be mindful of, okay? And that's just what I'm saying in terms of your centering. I still don't find that your camera is centered. I can't understand it. It's something to fix a bit. It looks like you have to move a little bit to your left so that, but we will sort that out. I think with different practice, it will happen. Like right now, you're looking pretty good, but when you started off, you seem slightly angled. Now that's just an overall presentation, okay? In terms of messaging, I will hand over to Madonna, but I feel that, as we've said, your opening statement, if someone is only going to tune in for the first 30 seconds of what you're saying, that is your chance. That's everyone's opportunity to really get to why is this important, what it is, why it's important, who is it going to benefit. Just get to that quick as your opening statement, because even if they edit out elements of your interview, that succinct information is there. All right. I'll hand it over to Madonna to give some of her feedback quickly before we get into the next team. But well done. It's always tough. Don't be hard on yourself, Mrs. Registrar Bailey. You're getting there and we're seeing growth. So please don't be hard on yourself. Okay.
Right. So I may not be the best critique. I'll try to be, because I was coaching this group. I am happy with the content they covered. They identified what, and they spoke in a conversational manner. and they gave examples, and that was powerful. So we are clear in plain language what the DCM is about. We're clear as to who benefits. We're clear as how it works. What I would do in the opening statement, the details with the murder case, I would put that later on because it tends to lengthen it a bit much, right? So well done, well done. You hooked the audience, we understood, and we're chomping at the bits to hear some more about this system, all right? Thank you very much.
Thanks for the feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamaica, any participants want to provide some feedback, anything that you observed, any comments that you'd want, particularly in terms of what you heard, right? Now, for us, we've been immersed in this. We know about it. We're excited. You are new. You really represent audiences who would be hearing it for the first time. Give some feedback as to how they were. Did they hook you in the messaging? DK, thank you so much.
Okay, I think great job. I think I was the first to do a round of applause. I particularly liked the warmth of the interviewer. I think she displayed a level of comfort with the role, and I do think that the interviewee also had displayed that level of comfort with the information. There were some elements of nervousness and unease, but it wasn't too obvious. You had to like look intently to realize that, you know, there may have been some nervous elements or some nervous moments. But I liked the feedback on the camera angle, because that was one thing I noticed. And also just body language and body posture. It appeared maybe as if she was uncomfortable in the seat, but it could have been also the camera angle, the way the camera was angled that may have given that off. I think the information was good. I probably may have included a little bit more to hook the followers in, a little bit more information. But I think generally it was really well done for the first team on the yeah.
And this, okay, so because we could stay forever on this, but DK, I want to really sincerely appreciate you for providing that feedback. It's always good to get feedback from your peers and not just the facilitators. I am also guilty of doing the eye roll when I'm formulating a response, okay? And I literally have to do a lot of self-talk before that session to make sure that I don't do the eye roll. When I'm thinking, I do that, my head rolls back, all kinds of things. But I have to remember in the interview, I'm looking straight ahead. And the feedback from your peers, you'll see in the chat about the warmth and smile. But for everyone, always think of your opening statement as your hook. It is basically why is this important? Why should we care? Who is it benefiting? What's the impact of this? What's the consequence? Okay, and then we get into the other things. I didn't hear what would look like a key message to me. And we talked about the key message being a 10-word phrase thereabouts that you'll be able to utilize as you do some more, as you respond to other questions. So think about it. But right now, today, we're looking at the visuals, the presentations. Next week, we'll be focusing on how to interweave the key messages with our bridging and blocking techniques as well. So wonderful. Thank you. Let's go on now to, should I nominate? So somebody's going to be volunteering. Belize. I think this group just likes to be told what to do. So Belize, let's go. Please. Belize. Did all of Belize go? Did we lose all of Belize? No. Are you ready, OECS?
We are ready.
Okay. Okay, good. All righty. So identify the interviewer, the interviewee, and your topic, please.
Mr. Brissett will be the interviewer. I will be the interviewee.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our virtual press conference looking at a project to reduce case backlog in the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court member states and territories through the introduction of our e-litigation portal. And today, to take us through that journey, we have Registrar Zamara Forsyth, and she will now take us through the process.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brissett. It's my pleasure to be here. I am proud to say that the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court was able to keep the wheels of justice turning through what many have described as being the worst crisis to hit the world in the last 100 years. That is the COVID-19 pandemic. Indeed, a large part of the move to become a digitally driven court is a full implementation of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court's e-litigation portal. Last year, the court achieved a significant milestone in that all 9 member states joined the portal for the first time, and this was a completion of phase 1 of the implementation of the portal. The e-litigation portal will increase transparency of court services, access to the court by litigants will be increased, it will provide a speedier resolution of cases, and greater cost savings for parties, states and territories, and their governments. It cannot be overemphasized that the court stakeholders deserve a modern, responsive system of justice, equal to that in any of the developed regions of this world. This ideal cannot be achieved without increased reliance on modern technologies like the e-litigation portal.
Thank you, Registrar, for that nice opening message. I have some questions to further help our audience understand the real benefits of the e-litigation portal. And I will start by asking, how long did it take all 9 member states and territories to sign onto the portal?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Brissett. The first member state to join the portal would have been St. Lucia in 2017. They were the pilot for this project. The final member state joined in October of 2021. That would have been St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So throughout the period 2017 to 2021, the member states would have all come onto the portal. In fact, it is one of our great accomplishments that in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the last 3 member states, Grenada, Dominica, and St. Vincent, would have signed on to the e-litigation portal.
Has the portal brought any visible benefits during a period of natural disasters such as the COVID-19 pandemic? Or even...
My apologies for cutting you.
Or even the eruption of the volcano, the Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
As I was trying to cut you to say, that's a very timely question. In the last year or 2 years, we've seen the COVID-19 pandemic, the volcanic eruption, and things we did not anticipate. And the launch of this portal in all member states enabled the court to continue to function in a time where we otherwise would have been either unable to function or unable to function as well as we did. For instance, and I'll give an example, the master of the High Court would visit the various territories and member states at least once a month in person. The portal allowed persons to have their matters filed electronically, while the master would view these files from whatever location they were without having to travel to the various jurisdictions to receive the physical file and adjudicate matters. So we were able to continue filings and court hearings because member states were on the portal and litigants were able to have their matters progressed in a time where, in regular circumstances, we would not have been able to do that.
Thank you very much, Registrar Forsyth, for those nuggets. I want to impress upon members of the media present virtually today to continue visiting our website at www.eccourts.org, where you'll get updates on our e-litigation portal, going forward. Thanks for coming and good evening to all.
Okay, another excellently executed practice session. Well done, Registrar Forsyth. Well done, interview reset. I think straight off the bat, if we're just looking at expression and looking at language and simplicity, looking at the use of colorful language, and I was hooked in. I mean, the opening statement really said what it is, why it's important, and the kind of impact it is having or will have. I heard the use of the we, so I know that that's something that we speak about, you know, personalizing it. The language was simple. It was very colorful, so it was emotionally connecting. So that is a win for me. And in terms of the setup, again, I guess it's a question of how your desktop is. You did look quite angled, but the lighting was good. So there was no shadows cast on your face. I know that you were struggling with activities in your office, so it was quite difficult to do it, but you still expertly handled the interruption so that the audience didn't see that that issue was happening, which is also good. You kept your composure. You spoke clearly, and you also spoke fluently, right? And there was a warmth and a smile in what you were saying. Now, excuse me, Madonna, any comments or observations based on what we covered today?
Right. So good. I found that the opening statement was a bit too long. Let it be a more succinct one and put more details when leave that in your back pocket when the interviewer asks more questions. And if he or she doesn't, you have some more time. But the opening statement was a bit too long, so you don't want to lose people's interest. That was good. And just one more observation. When there's a little hiccup when I think you butted in and the interviewer, so nobody knew who to continue. And then he said, well, when I was trying to butt in, so there was no need to say that. I'll just smooth it over. So a couple of comments around that. Quite a good job. And I liked, and again, confirming what Carol was saying, I liked the vivid terms where what was the word? There's something crisis in the world, yet you're able to continue. So I liked how vivid and sensual the language was. Great.
You know, Kimura used a technique that we do it in our speeches when speech writing, right? Where you establish a universal truth that the audience is going to agree with. She said something to the effect that either that we all expect modern something in this day and age. I just remembered writing down universal truth that I can connect with as an audience. So similarly, if you're talking about, give me another example. Any other example of what you're doing that's going to be done in the virtual press conference? There's often a universal truth that your audience can connect with that you also are agreeing with. It's possibly sometimes part of your own code of conduct, or it could be something pertaining to your core values, right? But based on that foundational truth, that universal truth that you speak to, and you incorporate it in your messaging and your response, the audience connects because they say, yes, I agree, right? There is alignment here. I'm tracking with what this individual is saying. And to build on the word, build on what Madonna said, words like proud and increase, right? Some little things that I noted in terms of the use of language to paint a very vivid picture of the development, its innovation, and its impact. So well done. I believe we are on track. And now as you do these sessions, and as we do these sessions with Cohort 2 in your own practice, when you come together, this is the kind of feedback you'll be giving the justices or the magistrates and whomever else would be presenting on press conference day. Any feedback from participants, either in the chat or by a raise of hand for team of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court before we go to our next group? Anybody? Well, let your comments keep coming in the chat because I'm seeing that the chat, as they say, is lighting up. If no one wants to raise a hand and verbally say anything, we will go to the next team. I see no raise of hands. So well done, Kimura, and well done, Brissette. You guys did well. Let's go to Guyana now. Guyana, if you're able, if you're ready.
Alicia, you're muted. Okay. Okay, no, right, great.
Welcome to Radio and Television Guyana. On this evening's segment of The Court and You, we have in studio today Ms. Monique Eiffel, the Court Administrator of the Supreme Court of Guyana, who is here to remind us of the introduction of the electronic platform for hearing of court matters. Welcome, Ms. Eiffel, and good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Alicia. It is my pleasure to share with you about the electronic hearing of matters system that we've introduced. This system is very dear to our hearts at the judiciary since it would greatly improve access to justice through cost reduction to all court users, particularly our litigants. It will also improve convenience by allowing all court users to attend court remotely, regardless of their location. The campaign basically introduced the electronic hearing of matters, and electronic hearing of matters will allow you, regardless of where you are, to access justice easily by reducing costs and time needed when you're attending in person.
Okay, so Ms. Eiffel, can you tell us when was the electronic hearing of matters introduced?
Well, as we all know, justice is crucial to the functioning of a society. The court recognizes that justice must be served at all times and to everyone. The court was not daunted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and as a result of the restrictions on face-to-face interactions, in response to those restrictions, the court introduced the electronic hearing of matters in 2019.
Thank you so much. And how has the introduction of this system improved the court system in Guyana?
Well, I'm happy to report that we were able to keep the wheels of justice turning through the introduction of this system. This system has improved the court system by reducing or improving the timely hearing rate of matters. We've had 100% increase in the hearing of all matters that previously, before the introduction of this system, we were struggling with hearing matters in a timely manner. We've also had a 50% reduction in the delay of hearing of matters, which previously, prior to the introduction of the electronic hearing, was affected by adjournment. With the introduction of the electronic hearing, we found that attorneys and litigants attend courts more, and that increase has seen more cases being able to move forward without delays caused by adjournment. We've also found that there's been a 75% increase in attendance by our residents and litigants from rural and hinterland regions. We found in the past, prior to the introduction of the electronic hearing of matter cases, that litigants in our outlying regions, they were affected by the costs that they would have to incur to travel to the court to hear their matters. With the introduction of this system, the litigants are now able to attend court wherever they are, and that has caused, especially in our hinterland communities, a 75% increase in their attendance.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Miss. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yes, what I was saying is the court sees that this system is one that we would want to keep, is one that we would encourage all court users to take full advantage of. We know that the court has recognized that COVID-19 has really shifted how we do things. And notwithstanding this, we know it is important that despite this shift, that the court is here to serve you.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Monique Aito, for sharing. And we encourage our viewers to take advantage of this new system in the Supreme Court of Guyana. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, good stuff. Well done, Guyana. Well done, Alicia. Well done, Monique. Monique, if you could turn back on your camera for me, and Sonia, let's just spotlight Monique. Now, Monique, okay, so, right. Okay, so for those who watched the video where we posted of the president of the Supreme Court of the UK, Lady Hale, she had a natural tendency to lean on her right. Now, you may have been doing that today because it may have been comfortable and maybe, you're just thinking it's not that big of a deal, but just doing a dry run. But maybe it's a natural thing for you to lean on your right. So be careful with that. I mean, it was so pronounced with Lady Hale. She literally was like this speaking, like if there was a crook in her neck. So when you are doing your interview right now, you sit body straight as if a line, is pulling your head straight up. And I think your camera angle, just for future reference, I know you won't be doing it in this space in the future, but I want you to get accustomed to seeing the amount of your torso that we want to see. So we would want to see a little bit more, right, of at least your chest area, as much as like you're seeing from mine. So I want you to get accustomed, even though this will not be the space you do it. For those of you who are online, when you're doing any kind of Zoom interview or even a Zoom meeting, get in the habit of giving the right proportion of top to bottom. Now, you guys had a lot of checks in our evaluation sheet. One of the things to check to technically for everyone, though again, this may not be the audio setup you're using, check your audio setup. I found there was a little bit of an echo I heard. I don't know if that obtains for everybody, but again, I'm giving feedback as I see it and as I hear it, okay? But I love the use of everyday language that people, your audience, can connect with. I love the use of key phrases like reducing cost and ease, again, which speaks to the audience as to what's in it for me as a court user or a litigant. I also like that you also use a universal truth that I can connect with when you said justice must be served by all users and for everyone, something along those lines. And it allowed me to say, yes, that's true. And you said that as an institution, this is what we believe. So you established a point where I can agree with you and say, I'm liking where they're going. They're connecting with me in terms of this universal truth. And you had some great proof points. There was a point where the interviewer was about to say something and it looked like he wanted to make a concluding comment. Now, there will always be an opportunity sometime, well, not always. There will be an opportunity. Most reporters ask, are there any closing comments? Are there any concluding remarks that you'd like to make? And that's when you would provide an opportunity. Now, for everyone on the call, we are all reading scripts, okay? The real test will be committing, not verbatim, but understanding your main message enough that you're not reading from a text. And that is what we'll be expecting on the virtual press conference day, that there isn't really a script that you'll be reading from. If there's a presentation that you're using, yes, but that's not, we don't want to do that for the virtual press conference. So get in the habit of that. But excellent job, Madonna. Any comments you'd like to share?
Yes, I want to agree with you. A tremendous job here. And this presentation really succinctly handled the key messaging and interwove it into the responses. So good job, Monique. Also, in respect of the newsworthiness, the connection with the users in the hinterland, that was really, really powerful. So you could see the empathy, the identifying with that. So great job. And as Carol said, the proof points, I mean, clearly some research was done about the impact. So we had the percentage reduction. So great job with that. Congratulations.
Any comments from the floor, please, either in the chat to Monique and to Alicia, who also did a great job being the interviewer, asking some good questions. Anybody raise of hands or just drop it in the chat? Any observations? If not, we're going to ask for just about 10 minutes of your time again so we can just do our recap of what needs to happen for next week. Not a recap, but just to talk about what will happen next, our next session, and a little bit about the virtual press conference. But we have to hear from one group again, or we've heard from everybody? Belize. Sonia, you'll just confirm if we have any participants from Belize with us.
I see Melissa say she's having some issues.
Okay, so it's just Melissa at this time, because I know the Belize room was full.
Miss Flowers is here, Angela Flowers. And
so
but I'm not seeing any camera activated yet, no audio activated, so I'm not sure what's happening with that.
So Belize, if you're hearing us, just let us know if you'd like to pass, if you want to sit this one out, and then we will just keep it moving with the rest of the presentation that we have to do. We do note that we have about, okay, so Miss Flowers and Miss Ross, are you presenting? Okay, so Melissa is saying she and Fenton will be presenting. Thank you for that update.
But they just said, but can we pass, please?
Okay. Well, okay, he's having issues. I think we've all had a long day, and if Belize is unable to participate because they're having technical difficulties, I believe that we are an understanding team of participants here that we would allow them to pass, okay? But I feel that we've all benefited from the presentations that we've seen. I'm trusting that you would take on board not only what we have shared today, but also what we've highlighted in terms of setting up your space for the interview, all right?